Welcome. Today we're going to be talking about Instagram Reels with our guest speaker, Willis. Um, yeah, we'll just get right into it. I mean, if you want to come stand over here and so you can man it and then they can see you and then
All right, well, we're good, they can hear us? Let's see, okay.
speak now or
Oh, all right, first thing first, everybody, hi. Well, actually, since it's Pride Month, I'm gonna give you all a hey. But first things first, this is the era of video content. Video is the dominant content that businesses use, that whether they're big or small, to promote their brand, to keep their audiences engaged and informed. But the big question is, how do we do that? And that's why everybody's here, right? So really, I dug into what's the difference between an Instagram Reel and the difference between that and a TikTok. Instagram Reels are short, fast-paced videos that typically consist of different clips put together. Creators can record, edit, add music, fine-tune their videos with the help of Instagram's built-in tools and filters. Going further into TikTok. TikToks are short form vertical videos that, of course, are portrait, if you want to put it that way. TikToks have evolved from 15-second dancing and lip syncing videos with, everyone's goal going viral, to now you can do a 10-minute presentation. So I know this is not on the screens right now, but I thought I would dig into it more on a personal level so everyone is more, I guess, relatable to what I'm talking about. What are we using those platforms for? If you have an Instagram Reel, that's only 60 seconds that you have, to do your thing. And then you have TikToks, which can go up to 10 minutes. So it sounds like one is now built for telling a big story, and one is like short form, fast, deliver the content goal and move forward. But going back into once reels are published, you can add them to your story. You can put them into your newsfeed. They're added to the Explorer tab. Being featured, excuse me. Reels can reach completely new audiences and might go viral fast, which is one of the key benefits of Instagram Reels over traditional posts. We all see video content everywhere. Like I said, it is a dominant tool, feature, use for algorithms and social media marketing. No matter what we do, we cannot escape it. Even when we're on Instagram and we put a short little video that we probably don't even want to be a reel, Instagram is converting it into a reel automatically. You cannot escape that. It's really annoying because personally, I don't want to always do that. Sometimes I'm just like, nope, I just want this to look cute on my little Instagram page and a little square, and that's it. I don't necessarily need it to be like a reel and have it, in that realm. But on the difference then on TikTok is brands utilize TikTok as a marketing channel. You can do your shops on there, but you can also do on Instagram Reels, but it's a little more developed. It's a little more popular. You can find the world's biggest brands on the platform alongside local small businesses building their online presence through viral TikTok videos. So the differences and similarities between these two. I said 60 seconds earlier, I did mean 90. Max video length on Reels. TikTok videos, like I said, 10 minutes. Sound libraries, and both platforms. Account interactions, there's collaborations in Reels, and there's duet and stitches on TikToks. Does everyone know the difference between those? Okay. So a collaboration, which I absolutely love, it's the easier of the three. A collaboration allows you to, if you're the author, the original content poster, you can invite any other member of Instagram to be a co-author of that content, which the easy way to sum this up is it appears on both of your pages and it's like double the fun, double the engagement. It really is a good idea to collaborate because you are able to tap into the co-author's audience and vice versa. That way it's being instantly delivered to both at the same time. The easiest way to do that. A duet is a little different. I actually did a little note that I can't see on here. How do I get to my notes? Sorry. I had to like dig into, yeah. I have like notes for everybody to see. Mm.
We hit present.
Oh, here, okay. Oh, here they are. All right. So collaboration, like I said, but duets and stitches. Stitches are often used to add to the video's original point, answer a prompt, or be mentioned in an original video and start a discussion about the original video's subject matter. And duets, however, are used to showcase two videos at the same time and is often a feature and that complement or is complementary content to the original video they duet. It sounds really complicated, but it's not. Um, but I know that this is more, it's supposed to be more about reels, but I think that jumping off right from the beginning and understanding like what is a TikTok, what is a reel, but the next question is like, do I really need to have both or do I need one? And so going into this topic, I was like, this is a very loaded topic, like understanding like what what it is, but can you utilize it for your business? Or are you wasting time? Are you creative? Do you have the tools necessary? I want to dive into that and I want to really request. I was talking to Belle about this already, but I was like, I really think this should be a multiple part like discussion that lands into a workshop where we're actually sitting together and creating reels in live time, like real time together. That way, if you have questions, there's different skill sets and different ways of doing things. And I want to dive into those things, but I think that trying to deliver that all in 1 hour is extremely difficult, and I think it'll be hard to consume. So I want to get some advice from everybody, and I have some homework later that I think that you're all gonna love. One of the things about Reels that next is the audio limitations. Have anyone in this room or on the video received a copyright violation because of the content that they post, even though Meta or Facebook, Instagram is allowing you to use it, giving it to you. There you choose music, and here it is. Okay. So that is very annoying. And one of the reasons for that is you compare it to Netflix. We all love our shows, but are our shows always on Netflix forever? No. The problem there is that the licensing from the recording companies expires, changes, has limitations in countries, things like that. The reason you're really getting those, it does feel alarming. The reason that you're getting so many of those in the deep, deep bottom of the page fine print is that we're feeding an international audience. And some countries are not allowed to hear this music, see this type of content, and all those things. And so the easy way for Facebook Meta to, answer to whoever is in control of it, they have to give these they have to issue these warnings. And so if you're using Meta Business Planner, you can actually target audiences. It's kind of like more about how you would create an ad. You can target an audience and then choose where it can't be shown. And if you go into the fine print or fine details of like editing these things, you can change those things. But I know that the limitations and the copyright things kind of make you think like, oh, I can't post what I really want to post, or I can't use the music I want to. In some of those cases, you can. Some artists will have their music available, like especially on TikTok for like 60 days, and they pull it and they put it on the Instagram and they pull it. Like it's really up to the artists and recording companies. And we're just kind of like, okay, we have to figure out like what we can use. And the only time that if you're getting strikes for content that you're uploading, like if you upload a full song and it's not delivered with like actual content, that's a totally different subject, and that can be seen differently as a copyright violation. But if you're, receiving the restrictions just because of using content or videos that were supplied by Meta, you are okay. Really, in the fine print of that right now is restrictions in Russia, to be honest. Russia and China have some, limitations, and they can't access or they're not allowed to access our things. So that's Facebook's way, like I said. I'm answering that. The features on both platforms have filters and stickers for everyone to use. And my personal favorite is pre-recorded uploads. I know that this topic is very, very advanced. If for some people probably just like whatever. The difference here is like if you use the app to point at something, record, add the music, and do step by step in Instagram Reels or TikTok, you can just do that and post. What I like to do, because I love attention to detail and the little intricate parts of making a video, is I'll record the video in the maximum just level of, or of recording, like 1080p, 4K, whatever. I want it to be high quality, because no matter what I do, it's still going to get compressed a little bit on the delivery. Like the platforms are going to compress it, make it look a little like shoddy. So if you start with a really high quality file, you'll still have a great looking, piece of content at the end. But the liberties and freedom, like putting together a pre-recorded video, for me is I would record the room or whatever. I would add my own music. I would lay that on top of it. I would bring the volume of that down. I might do a voiceover. I might do special effects. I can add filters. I can do all those things just like I could within the app. And then I can feed that into Instagram and I can just post it as is. Some people will look at that as like, that's a lot of work. And how do you do that? There's a lot of apps involved in that. And this is where I feel like there needs to be a part 2 of this discussion, because if you really think about all the apps involved, if you go into your app stores right now and type in creation, you're going to get hundreds of apps that can do almost pretty much the same things, but are there quicker ways to do it? Are there free ways to do it? Can I deliver like this outstanding cinematic presentation, with like just one app? The answer is no. I use about 6 or 7 apps to create the things that when I'm really like in creator mode. Like I will use every app at my disposal, because one app might not deliver fonts and do the animations the way I want it to. One might not do, convert this and keep it in 4K. Like there's so many different things that you can do, but a lot of different apps are involved in that. I think that you all deserve to know what those apps are, but better yet, will they work for you? Will you know how to use them to the best of their ability? Before I go into the next one, does anyone have any questions about all that I just went through? I know I went a little fast because I want to leave a lot of time for Q&A at the end. No, we're good? Okay, cool. Now, I guess I can go back to full screen on this, right? Yes. All right. Do I have to choose? And these are all questions I really want you all to ask yourself. Maybe even jot them down and really answer them truthfully, because these are very, very, very important if you want your reels to deliver and grow your business online. Because if you're just recording a shoddy video, uploading it, or like weird, awkward eye contact and all this stuff, it's not going to do anything. You're going to get 1 or 2 likes from the people who are just like, they're like autopiloted. They'll like your content. You always get the same little group of people. They're like, oh yeah, but we want to grow beyond that, right? We don't want to stay in the same little box. We want to keep growing, and we had to figure out ways to do that and be very clever about it, but also consistent. So the next one is, where is your target audience? That is a very important question. You might not have an audience on Instagram yet, so you might be starting from the ground up, or maybe your audience actually is on Instagram. Maybe you have somehow created a TikTok audience that is dialed into you, so you would be better serving them. So you really have to figure out where that audience is. Are they 30 to 45-year-olds? Are they looking for homes? Or, you really have to figure out what your audience is so that you can curate the best content for them so that they keep consuming it. You want them to reshare it. You want them to tell their friends about it. You have to be able to know who your audience is, give them what they want, keep them wanting to come back for more, and then creating stuff that is catching the attention of others. Growing that audience should be your biggest goal. Of course, listing and, having all those things, those are, goals as well. But really, if you're trying to grow your business through reels, this is really take this to heart and figure out where your target audience is. If you don't know, that's okay. Then the question should be like, how do I discover my target audience? How do I figure out how to best serve them? How do I get there? There's a lot of avenues to these questions, and that's why I'm going back to like part 2 or part 3 of this would be really important, because we can deep dive. Or you can always email me, text me, or whatever, and ask, hey, can we meet and talk about this? The marketing team is fabulous as well. They can assist, but there's certain things that, like I might have more time to tell you or whatever. I'm always open to asking. I really have a passion for this stuff. So I'm very excited always to talk about it and how to create something and how to make those cinematic masterpieces. So the next thing is obvious. Do you or do I have the equipment to deliver consistent, high quality, engaging content? Are we using iPhones? Are we using Androids? Do those cameras, do 4K or 1080p? 1080p, most likely. Am I able to, does my microphone work? When I record videos, do they look messed up? Is there something wrong? Like, you really want to make sure that before you even start recording anything that, hey, please wipe your lens off. Like, and there is nothing more unappealing than seeing the smudgy gloss over look on a video caused by grease on a lens. It gives the video just an instant like downgrade for me because it just means that you're probably rushed it and you're not paying attention to your quality. So that's the first thing. And then recording, are you giving, it's like a lot of like if I'm holding my phone and I'm like, oh, like trying to make sure I have the right light, right angle, all those things. Those are things that you can buy. I have ring lights that I can put on my phone. But the thing is, like, are you giving the camera eye contact or are you looking at yourself? Do you notice the difference in videos that do that? That is a habit that is really hard to break because I know everyone has insecurities. Everyone's like, oh my God, this is going to be on the internet. It's like, so there's a lot of times where you can actually like make these real. This is what I love about pre-records too, is that you can create it and then watch it over and over and over and see if this is actually like post worthy, because if you're not giving your camera the eye contact, which think of the camera lens as the person that you're talking to, your bestie or whatever, put yourself in that space so that you feel and sound super authentic. Yes, Peter.
I'm gonna ask all my questions. So it's at the end of the month.
When there's 100 things in front of me, yeah.
When we're doing videos, does it matter if we're using this or the cameras up?
Yes, that's a really great question. Pete asked if he should be using his self-facing camera or his external cameras. The answer is yes, because those cameras are usually designed to deliver compressed video in different ways. The selfie camera is designed to deliver video calls. Really, that's what its first purpose was for, beyond taking just a selfie photo. If you ever look at your packaging on your new devices, you'll see like the iPhone example is the self-facing camera is 12 megapixels. The external one, there's 3 lenses or 2 lenses, and one is going to deliver, like the newer phones deliver 48 megapixels, and the other one delivers 12, and so on and so forth, ultra wide and all those. So yes, your external camera is designed to take real life like video at the highest quality that your processor can process, but where your external or internal one can still take, 12 megapixels can still deliver at 4K. There's always like, oh, if I have 4K, then it's above, everything else and it's still great. But at 12 megapixels, the less megapixels that are in your video, the more pixelated your video actually can turn out to be, because unless you have to be in perfect lighting. I always find that natural lighting is the best unless you're using, a light kit or anything like that. If you're in a rush, some people, it is easier to use the selfie camera. So if you're in the right lighting conditions, go for it, especially if it's a short update. But if you're going to tell like a story or you want to really put together like something like if you're going through a home, for example, like you're probably going to want to switch your camera while you're doing that from internal to external so that they can see and like the way then you're not only you, but like what's around you. Or you can use cameras and do 2 things and edit it offline and do a little extra work. But if you want to use like your external camera to do all your self-facing stuff, you might want to get a kit just so that you aren't wasting too much time like, oh, how's that look? Because sometimes you won't be able to see the screen, and then even though you're giving the eye contact to the lens, like you still, you're just always going to be that question like, oh, is this look right? So
Like from here.
yes. So I don't discourage anyone from using their selfie camera. I use it and it worked out great. I actually, when we did the Friday vibe check for that everyone was dancing in, that was done on a selfie video. Like, you know, there's if you're in a bright space, go for it. There's no, if you're on an iPhone, I will say I have more experience with iPhone, you know, and Apple products than Android. And I know Android, cameras can be a little different. Their whole compression rate and the way that they deliver 4K, video is a little different. So a video on an Android can look very choppy versus, an Apple device. So the question is, it's a personal preference. If you prefer, see yourself and have that, or you can turn it around and hope for the best. Next question is, do you have a strategy, a plan to put this amazing content together? And keep in mind that it's relatable to your target audience. And I put the parentheses around target because at the end of the day, you really need to know who your audience is and how to target them. So your target audience is most likely people who want to buy homes, people who want to get a mortgage, people, like you have to figure out who those people are and what they want and how they want it. So you might have an audience that's younger, a little more hip, or you might have somebody, who's a little, older and they are a little more into the prestigious, like lifestyle, like all those kind of things. You want to figure those people out so you can deliver. Yes.
It's not necessarily a question, but an easy way to figure that out, if you have a creator account on either platform, and you start posting, I don't know if you're already gonna touch on that.
Yep.
Are you already gonna I'll let you go.
Deja is just bringing up business manager, like the business manager for Meta Business. You are able to look at your analytics and see like who's dialing into your videos, who's commenting, your engagement, the comments, which I absolutely love because you can manage your stories, you can manage your posts on both platforms, Facebook and on Instagram. But with Facebook, it has to be a business page, and same thing for Instagram. You're able to answer comments, all that in one place versus jumping from app to app on your phones. But anyways, figure out your target audience, and that's one of the ways to do that in your analytics. And then the last question is, are you ready to have some fun on video? Because if you're not having fun making these videos, personally, don't even bother them. Because if you're not having fun and you're not enjoying it, it's going to translate through your video to your people, to your audience, and they're not going to be interested because this is a very saturated pool of realtors and other business owners who are trying to do what you're doing. And they're going to see what you're doing and they're going to try to replicate it, or they're going to try to do it better, which is probably the goal, and so on and so forth. And so you really want to have fun and keep yourself relatable and find that target audience and grow them. Because at the end of the day, to make this the easiest, you want to turn that targeted audience into walking, talking billboards. You want them to talk about, oh, did you see Willis's post? Did you see da 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 da? What are they going to do? They're going to jump right to Instagram. They're going to find it and they're going to be like, oh my God. And they might comment, they might share it. And what's happening is it's growing. Those numbers are blowing up because now I'm engaging more and more and more people. And I'm like, oh God, if they just reshare it, just reshare it, God, because then I'm tapping into their audience. So, or thinking of it more like a sphere. I have my group of people, and then you have your group of people. And if I can get you to repost what I posted, now your people are my people. Think of it like that. And I think that is the easiest way to kind of take the approach, because that way you're growing with minimal work. Because I know, trust me when I say that social media marketing, it sounds and looks easy, but it is not. It's a lot of late nights, working in the creative, trying to keep yourself as creative as possible and really just pushing out content. You can't just push out the mediocre stuff. Like, you have to be original. You have to figure out, like, oh my God, like, does this font look right? Does this, does that? And really, does it all align with your brand? Which I know that next week is a really exciting time for the marketing team because it's a refresh of your brands. And for those who don't have a brand, it's a really excellent opportunity to get that new headshot, get yourself, new content, like new logos, new branding, like do those things so that you can use that energy and apply it to your next round of Instagram reels and content and having it all be consistent, because you can't have like different fonts over here and different fonts over there, a logo that's lopsided or a different logo for this, different, things that are hard to read. It needs to be consumable. So I really encourage everybody who is going, I know it's sold out, or not sold out, but all booked, but anybody who's going to that, please take advantage of it. I did have some like homework in this, and I still am going to share that. But I really think that if you take this seriously, developing your brand, figuring out what that is and what that looks like, and and you want it to be kind of personal. You want it to be something that you're proud of, that you're like chatting about, and you're like, oh, da 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 da, check out my business card, look at this logo, like this everything, and then tell your friends. But before I go to this, any questions about any of that? Because these are a lot of loaded questions that can lead in a lot of different directions. No?
I think one thing that kind of made me think about when you were saying this is, I don't know if any of you guys have watched like Jonathan Newby's reels. His are like fabulous, like videographer and everything, but like his idea behind it is he's super passionate about food. He loves food in the Milwaukee area. So he's kind of using that to his advantage to do like his newbies list for newbies, where he goes around to different restaurants that he loves and like interviews with them, and then talks about which houses in the area are for sale. So trying to make it really personal to yourself, but also still relating it back to, this is my goal. This is my real estate.
Yeah.
Sure.
I love it. Newbies is a really good example of high quality, consistent content. He has his real estate crushes, he has his newbies list for newbies. And I think just those two in tandem really work well together, because he's serving up, a personal interest like about food and community. And then on the flip side, he's still really putting a fun twist on real estate and what's very attractive to him and relatable. And honestly, it's goals. Like, it's all high quality, it's excellent and consistent. And he does a fantastic job of delivering that. So if you are unfamiliar with his content, just shoot me a message and I will link you to it. It's all awesome. Thank you, Bella. And so I have reached a portion where I'm going to talk about homework, because I know that a lot of you probably came in here thinking like, oh, I'm going to create a reel today. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I want to create reels with you. I really, really do. And so I'm really pushing Lindsay Brannick to make this happen, because I know that it's going to be time consuming, and I want you all to have a lot of fun. And I don't want to be, in a little stuffy room. I really want to make this like a workshop where we can download the apps and really do it together, so you can start delivering amazing things. So what I for those who are unfamiliar, or are familiar, excuse me, create a reel. That is the homework. Create a reel and tag me in the comments. I'm going to privately critique it, and I'm going to give you the best bets and tips to level up your next reel. And in that critique, I'm going to give you links to apps. I'm going to give you things to watch. I'm going to give you all the things that you're usually scanning QR codes and all that stuff, but I'm going to personally we're going to have a conversation with every person who does the homework. I'm going to have a conversation and guide you. And that way, so on the next one, we can do it again and again. And that way, not only are we growing together, but you're also growing your content. Like, you're able to, you're leveling it up, and people are going to notice that. Some people, like right off the bat, are instantly creative, and they put together these amazing reels and videos, and they're like, oh, wow, like the question is, how do you do that? And there's easy ways to do it where you can be a little content factory and pump out videos every day, or there's another way to do it. And that's, taking it apart and really delivering fine edited, high quality content that is consumable and hopefully reshareable. You want it to be post worthy. That's the homework. And then the question is, should we do a workshop and create reels together? Like, that's the question, because I don't want it to waste anyone's time. I want it to be fun. I want it to be something that the marketing team can really be like, whoa, like, you have got to be a part of this, because we're going to really grow some, content. So, yeah. So now the next part is Q&A. I'm going to answer any question that you have about social media, reels and TikToks. I mean, there's other stuff. I mean, if you really want to have fun, but whatever.
would you prefer using TikTok or Instagram?
Me personally, because I utilize, Bella's question was whether I would prefer to use TikTok or Instagram Reels or Instagram. I love me an Instagram. I have, here, really quick piece of advice. If you don't have a TikTok yet, or you haven't thought about it, create yourself an account. You don't have to use it, but create it so that you have the username. So that's reserved. So the day that you decide like, oh, I'm great on Reels now, I need to start delivering in TikTok, get yourself an account so it's ready to go before someone else takes it, or somebody takes your idea. If you are exotic, blah, 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 brands and homes or whatever, somebody might come up with that too. And chances are you're not trademark, you're not trademarked, so somebody can snatch that up from under you. Don't let someone else take what you have. Go out there, create the account, and just leave it alone. And then when you're ready to come to it and start delivering, then grow it. Don't invite anybody to it. Skip that step. I know TikTok and Instagram, all these apps want you to add your friends, blah, blah, blah. You're just giving them access to your address books. And then they're also going to start marketing on their behalf, on using your data. So do that. But going back to my preference is obviously Instagram. I love me an Instagram post. I love me an Instagram reel. I love Instagram stories. I love the simplicity and the ability that I have to create great content just from my phone and upload it and go. Like, I love that. I think that TikTok makes me feel a little more like, oh, there's so much that I'm like, is this right? Is this actually going to be seen by anybody? There's a lot of more mechanics to a TikTok than there is an Instagram reel. And I love that using the Meta Business Manager, I can see the performance. I can do whatever I want just from one place. And I like having all my stuff in one place. I try to use one app for all if I can, and this is kind of in the same realm. Yeah.
How, because there's, I mean, stories, what I've been told, like a reel is to kind of expand your audience. Stories are for people that are already following you.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to have my followers see the reel, but it's a 90-second reel, the stories are what, like 20 seconds?
No. So the stories can go up to, well, this is a really great answer. Peter is asking if, if he's posting or sharing something that's 90 seconds. So stories traditionally they're 15 seconds, 15-second segments. So if you flawlessly if I upload a 1-minute video right now to stories, you wouldn't notice it. But what you're going to notice at the top is these dashes. And it's the 15-second bars that are just dividing the story up. And it's just 15 seconds. So you can upload a longer video and it'll do that. But if you upload it in pieces, you're going to get that jar, like disc, it's going to look edited. But it'll seamlessly play if you, but the reason they do that in the 15-second split up is so you can fast forward. So you're like, oh, he's talking about something I'm not into, click, and then you can go to the next frame. Or you slide over to another account. You know what I mean? It's a quicker way to get past that content, the things that you're not interested in. But your goal should be to stay there. You don't want them to fast forward past your stuff. So always think about that. How can I like make this entertaining? Is this funny? Is this, what they want to hear about? Do they need to know about this restaurant? Do they need to know like what I had for dinner last night? Like those kind of things. Like, I think that it's also part of knowing your audience too.
What do you consider like a successful reel? Like, what are like the biggest numbers you look at? And
I love reach. I think that reach is really important, but just overall engagement. For me, anything, I look at the reel I posted before and I'm looking for a 20% increase. That for me is always my personal goal and all things. I like 20% is a really great number and it's obtainable. But I look at the reach, like, am I beyond my sphere and how far? And then I'm comparing that number to ones previously because I want to stay in that range, but also want to keep growing that. So that's my personal one.
Do all your Instagram on your personal page or do you have a business page?
So in Instagram, you can do different types of business accounts. You can be a creator, you can be a business owner account. And I think the other one it might be political or something. And then there's just the classic like personal. I chose to be a creator because if you switch your Instagram to a business page, you actually get your libraries of music and things change. There's stuff that's only that they determine is for commercial use, which they instantly think businesses are going to do. I like to have access to, Megan Thee Stallion and all that stuff. Like I want all that music and access to that because if I'm on the go, I can quickly just throw that video, or a picture and then throw music over it and then go. If you stay as a creator and being a creator still gives you access to all the business features. So you're able to see your analytics, you're able to see growth, you're able to do the ads, like you're able to see all that information. And when you like go into your account versus like having to, if you're personal or business, it's in different locations, but personal, you don't see that at all. So I make sure that I am a creator on there, but I hide all that stuff too, because I'm like, people need to see all that.
I didn't know that.
So,
Mhm.
yeah, so what's the answer to the question?
Oh,
So be a creator.
yeah. So if you want to have access, that for me was the biggest difference,
Yeah.
was just the libraries of music being the difference between being a business or being a creator on Instagram. So I'm a creator, so I have access to music that everyone is listening to versus like the corporate stuff that's very instrumental and kind of weird and royalty free and all that stuff. You won't get those copyright violations and things like that and those notices if you're a business using that library. But if you're using the creator library, that's where you're running, or a personal page, that's where you're running into those like, oh, warning, you're using Warner Brothers, said blah blah blah. Like that's what it is.
Well, do you still get the same analytics as you would on a business page
Mhm.
with a creator account?
Yep. And so if your business page, you are in Meta Business Manager, it's now called a portfolio. And you would put both your business page, both business pages, the Instagram, of course, and the Facebook page, into under one umbrella, essentially. And it's still feeding you the exact same information as a business page would.
How do we change it?
So in your Instagram settings Peter asked how to change from personal to business. In your Instagram settings, you should have a feature. If I look at my phone, sorry, that's a great question that I don't want to steer you wrong on, but I know it's in your profile settings. So if you go to your profile, there's the little hamburger button, or I call it a hamburger anyways, the 3 dashes at the top left or top right. You would go to, let's see, account type and tools for professionals. And then in there, you're able to see, you right away, it says switch to professional account. And then when you do that, you can choose like what kind of account you want to have. And it'll talk about, you can actually add more additional accounts and things like that. I don't know if anyone knows this, but you can have a personal account and a business account and several other Instagrams that you're logged into in one app. And this is a great place to do that and manage it.
Creator account have anything to do with the blue check mark?
Mm-mm. So the blue check mark has evolved. Yeah, now you have to pay for it and just have your information verified. And it used to be if you were popular enough and doing like an influencer driving a lot of numbers, you could get to check mark because that was like the sacred, like, oh my God, like. It's really disappointing because I really look to the blue check mark as like, oh, this one, is goals, and they really have it together. But yeah, I really think that we should do a workshop, in connection with this, and and really create some content together. I would love to do that if anyone's interested. Any other questions?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Okay, so we'll get that on the calendar and schedule that, so stay tuned for dates.
Yes.
Yeah. Then you can really figure out those as magic powers.
Yes, and also if you do the homework, you're also going to get tapped into those magical powers too, because I promise you it's not as difficult as it looks. It's just a few extra steps, but your businesses are worth it. The time is money, and it's worth putting a little effort into making sure your content is looking a little extra crispy.
I'm switching over my cat's account right now.
Well, I want to thank, the marketing team for having me, and of course, all of you for everything you do, but allow me to spill some advice on, how to level up your content, especially stories or Instagram reels. There's a lot to be learned and a lot to be done, and there's a huge world of capabilities that we're just tapping into. And it's worth the time to really like figure out, master it, because if you think about it this way, if you level up your business accounts, Instagram reels and stories and things, and you drive up those numbers, you then become eligible to make money from those videos. So if you become a, master of real, like Newbie's Reel for, is a good example. If he continues to do those, they're going to continue to grow and get popular, and he's going to develop a revenue stream off of that, because he's viewing and all these views are going to translate. I actually have had a paycheck from Meta, and it was 79 cents, but I was never so proud in my entire life. And it was because I did a reel, and it was where you basically can take someone else's reel and then reshare that video, and then it's recording your response to the video or however you want to overlay it. Yeah. And so I did this one, and it was this person who was enunciating like words in different countries or whatever, and I was just so captivated and so I don't know how, but this video instantly got like 40,000 views. And so I earned 79 cents, and I was like, oh my God. And that is what made me realize like, oh, I need to like pay attention to these numbers, because like, yeah, 79 cents and 40,000 views, it sounds like, oh, whoa, that's, but you can get 40,000 views in an hour if you're, at that level of popularity, things like, just takes effort and time. Ooh.
I also want to shout out Deja. She was doing a little day in the life
Yeah.
video the other day. So that's another good thing to think about. It's not that hard, and it really shows people like, okay, this is the day in life as a realtor. And like maybe for someone who's like thinking about switching to real estate and they come across that video, they'll be like, oh, that's interesting. Like,
yeah,
that could be something I'd like to do.
Yeah, that's a whole other audience that you guys can tap into, is not only like, buyers and sellers, but what about other agents? Like, this can be a way that you can build your downline. So don't ever like take that out of like the realm of possibilities too, when you're pushing out content on social media.
That's like the biggest thing for us is Cream City Mortgage, like not necessarily a question, but we have two audiences. We have like our agent relationships and people who follow us for, things they already know about, but then we also have like first time home buyers and attracting that demographic with the content we produce. So it's like finding the line between targeting two audiences with the stuff we put out. So
I know, when I was at Family Reunion back in February, I went to a panel, that was really focused on marketing, and there was an agent, I believe she's in like North Carolina, but she basically, when she moved to North Carolina, she didn't have a sphere, and she has built her business on client like referrals, and other agent referrals, because of the content that she was putting out. And then she realized after like 2 or 3 years that all of her business was coming from other agent referrals in her area. So she pivoted just this year, and she is now focused 100% of her Instagram account on just agent referrals. And she's built like a multi-million-dollar business just based off of that. So I thought that was always really interesting to hear her story. But she identified her target audience, and she's playing 100% into that, and it's working for her. So
I think it's also important to mention, you mentioned it as well, but it's what your goal is with social media. And I think for me, it's my way, because I hate doing any type of cold leads. I hate it so much. I hate it. If I didn't make that clear. So for me,
You like it?
Yeah, no, it just makes you uncomfortable. So, but I'm getting to it. Anyway, social media for me is my way of allowing people to get to know me or feel like they know me without you know, them coming to me already, so and also Instagram has like these like achievements
Mhm.
things or whatever, so like posting on your story every single day. The way I think about it, stories is like for me, whereas reels, they push to everybody, like I made like a 9-second video of, it was, and I take my same content that I take from my TikTok and I put it onto Instagram, so it doesn't necessarily have to be all that complicated. TikTok was my preference, but everybody got their own thing. But it was 9 seconds, but then wound up being watched for 8 hours, and the majority of the people that Instagram put it to wasn't even people that followed me. It was like thousands of folks, and it was a very small percentage. I can pull up the analytics if you want, but yeah, think about it that way. Like, I think Reels, because Instagram's trying to compete with TikTok, is the best way to go about it. Video content, you're gonna automatically get more views in general, but I think Reels is like your way to introduce yourself to people that you don't know. Whereas your story is more like my personal day-to-day, like folks know I go to church, I work out, and real estate. That's pretty much all they know. But like Reels is like me putting my personality out there. So yeah, like a day in the life, or what Emily Walzak does in doing tours of houses and like
Mhm.
little stuff like that. So I think that's the best way. I don't think you have to make it as complicated. Basically, is the point that I'm trying to make. Like, you can do a day in the life of a lender or explain different things. It still is going to.
Fun day.
Yeah, I'm saying, but like, it's still
Yeah.
gonna like, it's still gonna connect with more
Totally.
than like multiple audiences. So.
Yeah.
Just follow them out on the golf course.
That's
That's all under,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's really fun.
Or just like little success stories. What did I saw, what's her name? Moved to Milwaukee, what's her name?
Abigail.
Yeah.
Abigail, yeah, she just posted, like, I'm sure she asked their permission if they wanted to like do like a little post testimony, her past clients,
Yeah.
and she's just like interviewing them.
Yeah.
That hits everybody.
Mhm. It's a really good idea.
Copy.
Yes.
Like, you know,
Everyone
like,
should, yes.
so,
Yeah.
yeah.
I also, she posted on her Instagram story, but you could make it into a reel also, that I think I was telling you about this, Lindsay. It was maybe over the weekend or something. It was her calling her client to tell them they got an accepted offer.
Oh,
And I
good
was
idea.
like, that's awesome, like, it's so simple.
That's probably like the highest of high that you
Yeah.
have as a realtor, to share with your clients, and like for other like potential clients to see that, like, that's such an exciting moment
Yep.
in
Yeah.
someone's life.
And it's like so simple, so easy, like, you set up your phone and you're on the phone with them on speaker.
Yeah.
And like, we'll get a lot of views.
Mhm.
And it'll make people feel so.
She gets results.
Yes. All
We're
right.
looking forward to your class. Yeah, like I said, stay tuned, guys. We'll schedule that. We'll get that on the calendar.
Okay. All right, well, thanks, everyone. You're welcome.